We're here. Ladies and gentlemen, by the sound of the music, you already know we have just entered the Bray Wyatt experience. I am your host, CT, aka Chitty Bang. And with me is my tag team partner in crime, Chris the Most High.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Reasonable Wrestling, episode 3.5. Appreciate you guys coming back.
This is the long-awaited Bray Wyatt character spotlight. Looking forward to it.
Let's get into it.
I appreciate Bray / Wyndham / Husky Harris. Been kind of watching him for a while. Back from NXT, he was in season 2 of NXT. You know, the game show NXT. They produced
fucking game show. They put him in a fucking game show.
That's that's what they wanted to do from back in the day. They wanted to create reality TV, and obviously that's what they did. So
it's one thing to make reality TV, and it's like, oh, Total Divas, Total Bellas, whatever. But it's another thing to make reality TV and put actual people who want to be stars and on WWE in a reality TV kind of gimmick game show shit. So I think the first 2 seasons of NXT, all that shit was a bad idea. Talk about logic. That's just a bad idea.
I mean, the logic.
It's like setting the people up to fail.
They were burying the kids, of course. I mean, but at the same time, they were still in that era or area, I would say, of kind of figure out, are we making new stars or are we still reliving? Because that, Cena's still there, Rock is still there, Triple H, they're still drawing money. And NXT what was it on Sci-Fi at one point in time? Anyway, he was on season 2 of the reality show NXT, and he was there with a few other guys that's still around that I watch and appreciate.
Yeah, he's on season with what?
Curtis Axel and Michael McGillicuddy, aka Michael McGillicuddy, and Kaval, aka Low Key,
Percy Riley. Those major stars. You got to name them. You gotta put them out there. Show them some love.
And their pros were like, MVP and Cody Rhodes. Shout out to Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes was Bray's pro, I believe, and I'm not sure if he rubbed off on Bray, but he's a guy who I respect as well, who completely commits to a character. When he goes into a character, you don't see any Cody anymore. You see Stardust, or you see dashing Cody Rhodes, or you see the, damaged Cody Rhodes, and he completely commits to it. So I'm not sure if Wyndham got that from Cody, where he's like, hey, you need to have a character and you got to go forth with it. But back when he was Husky Harris, he didn't grab me. And it's not like I didn't like him, but he just didn't grab me as Husky. He just was a guy.
I mean, he definitely was a guy, but that backstory kind of hinted towards what we got, and what we got was uniqueness. I remember, they always do the who you are, where you came from, and Husky Harris talked about how he was the son of Mike Rotunda, IRS, and the grandson of Blackjack Mulligan, and uncle is Barry Windham.
Barry Windham, yeah.
So
third generation wrestler.
His brother's Bo. So he was just kind of he wanted to separate himself. So you kind of knew then that he wanted to stand out. And the Bray Wyatt character, I believe it debuted in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, and FCW / the what we then now know as NXT. They were in their infancy stage of creating something great down there, but Bray character was captivating then because he recruited like Luke Harper. That was the first time I saw Luke Harper. I've never, even though John is from Rochester. I'm from
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Shout out to Luke Harper. He's incredible. And matching with Bray is just him and even Rowan. It makes for a tandem that is it's so copacetic. You know, there's synchronicity with that look. I'm not. You know what I mean. Synchronicity. I'm making that word up. Synchronicity with their when the Wyatt family debuts is something that we've never seen before. I remember seeing the teaser trailers when they were brought up. I was like, okay, I didn't know what was going on. You know, when they're brought to main roster, I had to go back and look at his NXT stuff, and I was like, this guy, who is this? You know, and they're like, because people knew who was coming, and I didn't at all. So he was captivating in a way that left for mystery. He has this horror element, this cult element, and I think the cult leader kind of dynamic is a realistic horror of today's age. Whereas Undertaker back in the day was a character that could be scary to people, and it's like, oh my god, this guy's dead. Is he? You know, he's coming to kick ass and kill people, whatever you want to say. Back then, you can't do an Undertaker character in the modern day of wrestling. Now, if you were, or even a Mankind, you can't do that now. So you need if you're gonna do a horror or type of crazy element character, it has to be somewhat relatable to like real life, and there are real cults in real life, and there are people who just have this magnetic, hypnotic aura about them that they can make people do things they wouldn't normally do. You know, so it's a realistic fear.
I'm pretty sure Bray got the character, which I do believe he got the character, remnants of the character from Cape Fear. As you know, Max Cady was who played that? De Niro, I believe. De Niro played it. So that character was a sociopath. You know, he did any and everything to get what he wanted to get. And with that,
twisted, demented, you know,
with that spine of a character, Bray could have and should have done a lot more damage of a guy just willing to get and go through whatever to obtain whoever. Like his first feud was Kane at SummerSlam, and they had a Rings of Fire match, and they abducted Kane, my G, and then he had a feud with Daniel Bryan, which was captivating because Daniel Bryan was a perfect, babyface. Bray Wyatt was a great foil, and then they kidnapped Daniel Bryan and forced him into the family.
No, Daniel Bryan was part of the Wyatt family. A lot of people don't remember this, or not. I mean, I think people should remember if you're a Daniel Bryan fan or if you're a wrestling fan. But it's so long ago. It was so brief. It was so brief and so long ago.
It's not like a month, you know. But I'm saying as far as having a character that resonates with a real life feel, as a cult leader, as a psychopath, as a sociopath, as a violent human being, I think Bray fits with all that when given teeth to do so. He hasn't been given a lot of teeth, or they've, dulled his sharpness down a ton. Granted, they threw him a few bones. He's tag champion right now, and
I think the first year of Bray, or it was really good. The way they built the Wyatt family as a group, they seemed like an honest threat. They took Kane, abducted his ass. They had this feud with Dan Bryan. Then they had the Shield fight. The Shield feud was epic. I don't think people understand how having the rise of the Shield and the rise of the Wyatt family come head to head was such a big moment.
You can't say that. You can't diminish the. We can't mention. Well, that was so brief.
Yeah.
That they didn't give it any legs to run with, and then over time, 2 years later, you get the Bray and the Roman feud.
But the Wyatt family won that feud. The Shield.
Well, they just won that match. It wasn't even a feud. It was a match, and that's why I said they didn't give it any legs. That's why I said it's so brief. Like the factions, they developed factions to disband the factions, only to try to rebuild the factions again without the continuity of the beginning of the factions.
It's
the new Wyatts didn't mesh because either Rowan was hurt or Harper was hurt or no one knew how Braun. Oh yeah, Braun Strowman was in the Wyatt family too. For people who do not remember, you know, he was the black sheep. He didn't even talk. He was green as baby boo boo. You know, but you know, and we'll get into that later. But I have a great story to tell between Bray and Braun. That
should be the main event
sense,
of WrestleMania. Not main event of WrestleMania, but that should be a main event WrestleMania match.
That should be a WrestleMania match. That's a WrestleMania story. That storytelling is Okada Omega-esque if you allow it to be with the elements of what Bray Wyatt is supposed to be.
But you have to have continuity to do that. You have to
have continuity.
You have to give your character story and give their character a background to the fact that where everything they've done is playing into the future. You know, I think like I always say to my friends and to people that I talk to that Bray, and why he's my favorite is because Bray Wyatt, I'm telling you right now, Bray Wyatt of the modern day wrestling era has the highest ceiling of any character that I see. And I'm not saying he should be John Cena, but he has the highest ceiling of, and I'm not adding John Cena. I'm talking about everybody else. He has a high ceiling in terms of if you want to, even I'm talking about business, marketing him, making the Fireflies, the outfits. Like you said before, I think you've talked about how Bray Wyatt is a costume. Like you can legit get a Bray Wyatt costume and he could be like a mythical pop culture figure as the Undertaker is.
Yeah, I believe they've missed opportunities with him over these past 6 years. Just like I said, again, not I don't want to go into like, oh, they booked him wrong or I believe Bray doesn't necessarily have a writer that can take those ideas and place them on paper that they make sense when presented to someone who reads papers for a living. Mm-hmm. You know, you have all these, you know, WWE has like a gajillion writers and producers but Bray Wyatt should be I have the short film written. I have the short film created. Bray Wyatt should be a short film, and that short film shows a backstory because we never got a Bray Wyatt backstory. And that backstory hurts this character. Undertaker had a backstory.
But it took him a while to get to that backstory. They had Undertaker as a character that we had no idea where he came from until Kane, and that's when we kind of got more backstory.
I mean, before our age or our time, I'm not sure. I have to go back and listen. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he was explained when Brother Love brought him in.
I don't think he was. He was just a dead man who's like Grim Reaper dude, and that's what we just accepted because it's like, oh, okay, that's who he is. You know,
but as times changed, they gave him as times. So my thing is, they're in an era where they have WWE films.
Yeah, they have
times have changed. Yeah. Kane has been, Triple H has been in a chaperone. The Miz has been the Marine.
I thought you got to about Triple H has been inside the casket with Katie Vick. That's a Kane backstory. Let's not touch on that though. Let's not get into Katie Vick. But if you're talking backstory, have you ever considered that Bray may not want that story to be told? Maybe he wants it to be like a mystery.
It makes no sense because it dilutes his character. That's why he's at where he's at now. And not so much he's at where he's at now where, Wyndham, Bray, Husky, whatever the hell he wants to be called, he's achieved a hell of a lot. And I'm here talking about him as a fan of his, as an admirer of his. But I believe that him not expounding on what that character is hurts, and that places him in the limitation to where he's at right now. I don't believe he should be in a tag team with Matt Hardy. I believe him and Bo should be a tag team. I don't know if that's where they're going. I don't know if they do a double turn with Bo. But if he's going to be in a tag team, let him be with his brother. It makes more sense. Mm-hmm. If Matt Hardy is going to disband the soul of Sister Abigail, well, who the hell is Sister Abigail? Yeah. Can you let me know who Sister Abigail is? If Bray Wyatt and JoJo and Bo didn't get sick, Bray Wyatt would have been a female on television.
What I don't get is that, like, the Sister Abigail thing, I mean, I think at first it could be vague and this mystery thing. By now it should have been told.
It's his finisher.
Yeah, it's his finisher.
Randy Orton burned down the house, the compound that Sister Abigail
it was lazy writing in the sense of, like, all right, we're gonna touch on these little themes and not go deep, and it's okay to do that. But I think you should give your audience a little bit more credence when writing for a character like Bray, because it's so intricate. How does a guy become a cult leader? How does a guy have the power that he has to manipulate people? Where does he come from? Why does he devote himself to this mythical sister Abigail? It's so much to be expounded on, but I think it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but and that's not what you get when you see WWE writing. You see basic 1, 2, 3 by the numbers writing, but I think that Bray has the potential to make storytelling, because we have characters, but his character has the potential to have reverberations through the entire roster. His character, there's not many characters like that. I'm not going to see a Fandango have reverberations to the point where, oh my god, because he has this influence, people in the tag team division are at risk, the main event's at risk, because Bray Wyatt's this massive force and he has his people behind him. He should still be a cult leader. When they take him into a horror element and make the ring have worms in it and have the pork crusts, and then you take him to the deletion compound with Matt Hardy, which some people love it, and I honestly love the artistic balls to go there with WWE. I think that they are trying, but they're not hitting the nail on the head when it comes to adding in those horror elements to this cult.
And I don't even think it's not even in depth as so far as the horror, and it's the, what is this character? Who is this character? And Bray Wyatt, I know he has his idea and he knows who he is. My thing is that the people producing him, the people that is writing for him, because now, yes, Bray Wyatt is not getting a per se script from, of what to say, but they are giving him a script as far as direction, and he has influence on his direction if he's able to tell his story compellingly. And I don't believe just by him I just don't believe that if Bray Wyatt had the idea, it would be still on the shelf 6 years later.
I think that he has a lot in the tank. I think Bray Wyatt completely knows his character. If anybody knows his character, I think Bray knows his character. He knows the backstory. I think that he does. I think that as a wrestler, you can't not think about those things and know. So you have motivation and direction when you go with your promos and your storyline and your storytelling. Now, let's say he was a guy who wants to expound pain, put pain on other superstars, and he didn't care about winning. They could still tell that and make Bray a threat, and he can lose matches and still be a threat. He just has to make it. They just have to book it in a way that if you go through a Bray Wyatt match, it's like going through a fucking car wreck. You gotta. And I'm not saying use him all the time either, but he has to make it that, all right, if you go into a Bray Wyatt match, you're coming out a different man. I wouldn't use Bray Wyatt every month and every pay-per-view, but if you go into a Bray Wyatt match and you want Bray Wyatt to lose, that person may have to sell an injury for months afterwards. That's how I would say it, because he's Bray Wyatt, and the way the guy moves. I just want to shout out just his work. His work is just so super unorthodox and unique. For a guy his size, he moves like a guy half his size. And that force behind, when he throws that shoulder into people, it's fucking incredible.
He used to play football, so it's
Troy?
Out of Alabama, but the physical. No one's gonna be a worker and can't work per se, unless you're an attraction. You know what I mean? And Bray Wyatt is not that much of attraction that he could just go out there and not be able to work. So to see him work and see what he does is phenomenal. The physicality, the way he just brings like his match with Cena. His match with Cena was at WrestleMania 30, where that story was told great to me because Bray wanted something from Cena that Cena was not willing to give up.
Absolutely.
And Bray was going to force it out of him. That's a great story.
Yeah,
those are
the elements of it, and honestly, that is the pinnacle of Bray. And I'm not. Maybe he peaked too soon. I'm not sure if I want to say that.
I don't think because he doesn't win that match. and he still loses the feud. So boom, that's one strike against him. Bad take. Next year he goes at 31. He barks up the tree for Taker and like, hey, old man, you're now like you're not as invincible as you think you are. Maybe I'm the new face of fear. Like they fear me here, and that's a great story because he's a mythical person. He's a mythical because
entity
in
I think
itself.
that it's even more bastardizing of his character by making him lose again back-to-back WrestleManias and from John Cena and Undertaker. I just want to go into this a little bit because it really bugged me. Because if you want to make new stars, and I understand Undertaker makes money, he does. Undertaker's gonna make money as long as he has merchandise. But Bray Wyatt is your next guy to fill the element of mystery, horror, whatever you want to, just fear in general. And if he says he's a new face of fear, it's the fucking truth. Where's Undertaker now? Bray Wyatt is the only person on the roster that has that element of fear. And they've completely bastardized him by making him minor and this dog barking at the sun or dog barking at the sky kind of program. The whole program was him coming out to talk shit and yell out, oh, Undertaker, come back, you old man. I'm going to beat you down. I am the new face of fear and I'm going to take over. Now, imagine if Bray won, Undertaker, I don't think, loses shit because he just lost to Brock the previous year. Bray beats Undertaker, and now you can even tell a story where Undertaker has to redeem himself after 2 back-to-back WrestleMania losses. 2 back-to-back WrestleMania L's Undertaker has had. We've never seen it before, and he has to redeem himself. And maybe later on they book him against Shane, and he beats Shane. He books him against Roman, and maybe him and Roman have a thing where he maybe beats Roman. I'm not sure how they would book it after that. But it's adding a layer to Undertaker, and it's adding a layer to Bray. Bray has always can say, I'd be Undertaker at WrestleMania. I am the new face of fear, and go forth with that. And, we can talk about how he was injured in that match too. But he came out there and he worked.
He was hobbled and he worked and he put on a fairly passable match with a Taker who wasn't necessarily in his, prime. And the anticipation for the match was high because we haven't seen Taker for a whole year. It was a great build to me. The build was
good. I don't like the fact that they treated Bray like he's just this little guy. And if they did it that way, and then he won, I was like, oh shit, okay, he actually did.
Or if he hurt the Undertaker, he can take the L. That's what I'm saying.
But punish him, yeah.
He doesn't. Bray's character, his essence of that character is to put his opponents through the most punishment as possible. If he can win, cool. I mean, who's not going to take a win logically in professional wrestling? But if Bray should first of all, only be fighting in feuds. He shouldn't just be
in regular matches.
In regular matches, just
because. Oh, just Bray Wyatt versus fucking whoever this week.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, it's like the Roman feud.
That's to have a purpose.
The Roman feud had spine to it, but again, he lost that feud, and that feud went to Hell in a Cell. Well, yeah, him and Roman was in Hell in a Cell. I believe so. Yeah, and
it was a good match.
It was a damn good match, and Bray could have went over it, and it wouldn't hurt Roman a damn.
I do think it would have hurt Roman. No. I do think at that moment, Roman was already getting the boos. Roman was already he already just had
wouldn't have
the suffer and succotash thing. The League of Nations didn't put him over. I think that would have definitely hurt Roman if he lost to Bray.
How would that have hurt Roman when Roman is already the star?
Yeah,
Roman already no. Listen, Roman already has his long-term 31 was 3 years ago. They had that they was building Roman up since 2014 when he broke Kane's record for eliminations. So that was 2 years in the making into 31 where he lost. After he loses and Dean and Seth go into their program and Bray and Roman goes into their program, it hurts Roman none to lose.
Are you kidding me?
Bray Wyatt.
He just got his ass whooped. I don't want to go into Roman thing, but he just got his ass whooped by Brock and then he doesn't have the belt.
He didn't get his ass whooped though because people wanted to call that the Hoss match. That was a dog fight. Roman,
but it would have hurt him because he did not get the belt. And Roman, if he's the guy, the star, he never had. By that point when he faced Bray, I don't think he was champion.
No, he wasn't champion. That's the point. But he
so clearly somebody had to win, and of course Roman is the guy they're building still. I think they're still. I think he's still in his build in that moment.
Bray. I think the Bray and Roman feud. Hold on, let me check my notes. The Bray and Roman feud was in 2015. So yeah, that was after. That was after 31. Because
31 is when he faced
Taker.
No, when Roman faced
when Roman faced Brock.
Okay.
And that was 2015, and then that was Bray and
That's
Taker.
my point. Yeah.
No, okay. So after this is what I'm saying. After Roman Reigns loses to Brock or Seth, whoever, and then they go into Money in the Bank, and Bray cancels Roman out, and they have that feud. It hurts Roman nothing to lose there.
He had just lost to Brock, and so he's just going to lose to Bray again? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, but we can agree to disagree. Regardless of the fact, Bray, he lost, He lost that. And the fact that Bray keeps coming out and picking fights with people, calling them out, and then having to see a program where it's like, okay, Bray's gonna fight this guy, and then he loses, and it's the same kind of reoccurring scenario where it's Groundhog Day. When we see Bray now, we're like, oh, okay, we know he's losing. Almost his words don't even mean anything.
By 2015, he's there because he has the feud with Taker. He has the feud with Roman. He has the feud with Dean Ambrose. He has the feud with Kane and Taker at Survivor Series. He has the feud with Brock that doesn't show up. He loses in all those feuds. 2015 was his worst year. And we'll be right back after we pay some bills. And I'm literally about to go pay some bills because I'm about to get some money to pay some bills. Be right back.
And
we're back. Thank you for staying with us.
So I just want to say, like, what makes Bray losing so often, so criminal is that his promos are so good. So it's like almost like they're wasting this guy's talent to create a promo. His mic work is probably head and shoulders above most of the roster.
And I'll say that only when it has direction. And I'll concede to your point. Like, when he has the feud, when he has the masterful promo, just watch the pre-package with Cena. Again, we talked about it.
Unbelievable.
The pre-package with Taker. You kind of lose direction with him when he feuds with Dean Ambrose because that amazing Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins feud was stopped in its track because they wanted to put Dean versus Bray. Mm-hmm. That made zero sense.
Absolutely no sense. And the thing is that Dean doesn't need that win. Because Dean will get it eventually, and he'll become Dean still, regardless.
They had the ambulance match, and Bray lost.
The reason why Bray needs it is because of his character. Because it's not going to make his character. No, Dean losing is not going to make his character. It's not going to be a jab at his character.
Cena losing a last man standing match when he literally loses to 3 massive Wyatt family members because it's a no disqualification match. Cena can take that L.
Yeah.
When it's barbaric, Bray has to leave his opponents lingering. Mm-hmm. The Hell in a Cell match. Roman he should have ripped, the image of that match should have been him ripping off the protective vest and beating him with something. Yeah. With the chair, with the kendo stick. They ended it hokey when he set the kendo stick up and he was going to ram his face into it.
It's just poor because it's lazy booking for a guy who has so much potential.
And again, this is the Bray Wyatt experience, and we want to kind of give credit where credit is due because without the Bray Wyatt character, I don't believe creative would have been able to do anything with Wyndham. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. Period. Like I said, I just don't believe.
If he was still Husky Harris, he would have been. I don't think he would be in WWE anymore.
Yeah,
there was no way that was going. He was in the Nexus for a little while. I know that he got initiated with CM Punk.
But even then, like if you have continuity with that Randy and Bray feud, you let Bray go over because it's continuity because Bray or Husky Harris got punted out of the Nexus by Randy Orton.
Bring it full circle.
And the next time we saw that person,
completely different person.
So again, like I say, at Bray, I don't believe he has the ear and the pen of a writer that he can sit down and we can flush these. I created a backstory. Myself, not to put myself over, but I met Bray in New Orleans, and I don't know if you remember me or whatever, but I'm the black guy with the beard that wore your Illuminate Oblivion shirt and told you that I wrote the script that connects the backstory between your grandfather and Kevin Sullivan and your dad and Waylon Mercy and how like you can be the patriarch of a family created by the Taskmaster given to Waylon Mercy. Like it's just something like that. That's just it's really dope because you can tie it together. It's real.
Reality.
It's reality. And then you can make the fictional element of it and create a movie. Bray Wyatt, that character should be a movie.
It should.
We should be selling Hawaiian shirts and beards and white pants and a straw hat at Party City.
Yeah, you can see that shit as Halloween. That's what I was trying to say earlier. He's a character who you can brand. You can brand Bray Wyatt. You can brand Bray Wyatt. They just fail so bad.
He just tweeted yesterday, I believe. He just tweeted like, someone put me in a movie or make me a movie star to the realms of that. And I was just like, yo, I have your script. And he liked my tweet. And that gave me more motivation to like, I haven't wrote in a while, but it gives me motivation that he knows that he's kind of he's not at his peak.
Yeah, he's not.
But he's missing a window of opportunity where his uniqueness can still matter. I don't want it to be too late.
But and this is a long ranging problem for WWE is that they're stuck in the past. Reason why he's a victim of that. The reason why we have him losing all the time is because you got the Rocks and the Cena's coming back and the Taker's going over and the Triple H's coming back. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because it's a business decision. But in some moment, you have to throw the ball to the new guys and run with it. And I know he got injured. And I know Seth, you can talk about Seth got injured and then he got pulled back a little bit. But everybody gets injured. Everybody gets injured. Yeah. Through the Attitude Era, Cena got injured. Triple H got injured.
Yeah, but Austin broke his freaking neck and was out a year.
For real. So, like, you can't hold that against him and then book him in a way that he's can't win. Because he's crazy poetic with the way he writes his. I'm not sure if he's writing his promos, but I don't see how you can get those promos from a writer per se. Because Bray is super unique.
I mean, listen.
So wasting him. It's like he's in a tag team with Matt Hardy right now.
I do believe that it's a waste of talent, but I'm also I don't want to say I'm optimistic because I've been waiting to see what they're going to do with this character for 6 years. It's almost like I'm watching a series or a season of something. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, what's happening next? Okay, what's happening next? And it's lackluster. But I can't not shit on everything because they gave me and him and his fans that feeling when he switched over to SmackDown and they created the new Wyatt and it was him and Luke and Randy and I'm like,
it was good.
It was good. Up
until WrestleMania, it was really good.
It was really good up until WrestleMania, and that story, he was the story of SmackDown. It did get a little bit too hokey, and that's again, it's hokey because they didn't put the feel of realism into it. Where Bray is he plays mind games and Randy damn near doesn't have a mind type shit. Randy's the mind game king, so it's a battle of that.
Yeah,
that
you cannot play a mind game with somebody who's mindless.
You know how they say you can't bullshit a bullshitter. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a better story to tell. Having Randy infiltrate the Wyatt family to try to break it from within, but Bray's smart enough to know that's going to happen, and that's why I said I would have fantasy booked, Bray to go over, and then I would have had Bray drop it to AJ, because if you've seen that Elimination Chamber match, the end of that
have they had a match?
No.
Bray and AJ still haven't had a match. That's crazy.
Yo,
they should have had Bray drop it to AJ. You're so right.
At the end of that,
you should have had a program with AJ. That would be incredible.
That would have been incredible.
They gave Undertaker his reign of terror with the Ministry of Darkness. They need to give Bray his reign of terror on top for an extended period of time, not like a month with the belt. They need to give him some time with the belt and have him with his family.
God damn it, that was a championship.
Have him run SmackDown. Have him just have the king of SmackDown for a while. Maybe like give him a good 7 months on top.
Right now, so again, if I were to fantasy book Bray Wyatt, and I don't want to give out everything for free, but if I were a fantasy book Bray Wyatt, and I know we touched on it earlier, I would tell the story, since they're on the same brand right now, of Bray versus Braun. That story to me is intriguing because Braun never really got under the spell of Bray, and you can tell that story. Yeah. Like Braun was like,
he wasn't fully initiated. He wasn't fully under spell.
Yeah, I wasn't fully under
deep.
Spell.
He wasn't so deep as like a Rowan or something,
or a Harper. Because Harper's his first son. So, that's the story that Harper and Rowan could have been stuck with worse gimmicks. I know the Bushwhackers are Hall of Famers, but and the Bushwhackers are revered as the tag team of what they did before WWE. You know what I mean? But for what I know them for is they used to lick their heads and stuff.
Yeah.
So
bite each other and
so
biting opponents.
Luke and Eric could have been strapped to worse gimmicks than just being the Wyatt family, and I would love them to still be in that pocket of just the Wyatt, and I like the Bludgeon Brothers, but if it was the Wyatt families versus the Good Brothers right now, with the Wyatt family holding the tag titles, that means so much more because you still have the illusion of a trio match, of a 6-man tag, of something like that.
I think that they could still be Bludgeon Brothers within the Wyatt family. I mean, I don't want to hold Rowan and Harper back. I know they have their own potential, especially Harper. I think that.
But all we know him for is to being Bruiser Brody lookalike. So I don't know what you know what I mean.
I'm not saying he's gonna be like main eventer. But I think that he has talent enough to run.
He has talent
the mid card.
No, because we gave him the IC strap and he did nothing with it.
You gotta give him substance. You give him some more substance.
Substance is him being the Wyatt family and not joining the authority.
When he was peeping Randy's shit. And he's like, we can't let the Wyatt family succumb to this infiltrator. And he's having that, heart-to-heart with Bray. And he's trying to get Bray to realize this guy's not one of us. That's substance. And he actually pulled it off. To the point where I thought that they could have added him to that match in WrestleMania. I'm not saying...
It should have been Bray. And Randy, get Randy out of it. I don't know why Randy won the Royal Rumble to begin with. That's first mistake. So when it's a compounded thing, I don't know.
But you gotta feel for Harper because he's an artist in his own right.
He's an artist in his own right, but he's an artist brought in. Luke Harper wasn't seen on television, WWE and television, until he was with Bray Wyatt. His whole existence on television has been attached to Bray Wyatt. So if you want to give Luke Harper substance, he first has to have substance in the beginning within the Wyatt family.
Which he did, but I think they need to add more layers to it.
Or not even layers. If the Bludgeon Brothers, like you said, if the Bludgeon Brothers can live within the Wyatt family, that's fine. But what is this gimmick? What is the sledgehammer? Where does it come from? What is that makeup of?
It's just a cool image right now. That's it.
That's it. When you can have already built-in substance that we're brothers in arms. We've been through this before. Like, between Eric Rowan and Luke Harper versus the Usos when they had the copper tag team belt, they could have won it then to give the Wyatt family some teeth.
Yeah.
If Bray wasn't going to have a title, which they wasn't, because at one point in time he didn't need a title.
Yeah.
It got to a point where he needed a title.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It got to a point where he needed a title.
I mean,
and when he won it at Elimination Chamber, it was you saw the elation. No one gets into this company, and we always say that championships is predetermined. It's a consolation prize, but again, you are the champion of the company of what is
the WWE champion, not Universal, which is
the Universal champion.
Very short,
you're
history.
You're the
WWE champion. He's in the history books. And I just want to tip my cap to Wyndham for putting in that hard work because he was an underdog. You don't come in with that Husky Harris look and then say they didn't see him and like, oh yeah, that's our next WWE champion. He had to create something that had teeth, and he created Bray Wyatt, which is one of the most unique, more creative characters I've ever seen in WWE.
I mean, I think that, and again, that's how we ended up starting.
He found a way, and he got that championship.
It was a bone. Let's call it for what it was.
It was, but
it was a bone. Like they give it, and he's in the history books, and he was on the Mania card. Finally again after he wasn't on 32, I believe he was hurt. So, he was on the card again, and he lost again, and then they put him in a feud with Finn that could have been something, but was nothing, and they put him in a feud with Matt Hardy over, we don't know how that started, and now so what we're saying is that this Bray Wyatt experience and this Bray Wyatt experiment that they've been going through has been something that fans have grown to. He's a cult fixture within the wrestling community.
It's a bittersweet thing because you completely adore this character. You adore everything they created with him. When he's on screen, he's, he draws eyes and you can hear his poetry and you hear his mannerisms. He's so unique. The way he does his mannerisms while he's promoing. The way he, in the ring even, the freaking crab walk. Everything is so much, tilted to something you haven't seen before. That there's no way you're not being captivated when you see that guy on screen. And I think that WWE is just kind of brainwashed into they're stuck on the whole image thing. And it's like when you put on a Bray Wyatt, he's your champion. He's going to the Today Show and he's going on TV. I think they're like, all right, we'd rather put a Roman Reigns there who's 6 foot whatever and has a look of a model.
I mean, and I'm not asking him to be on. Listen, we're not requesting him to be on Good Morning America or anything like that because Mankind wasn't, and Undertaker damn sure wasn't exposed to that type of that. But what we're saying is that within the craft of what he's performing, within this theater of what he's performing, we ask that the character be directed in more of a way that's respected. And we're saying respected as far as just try to understand it so it can be written for and produced and developed and manufactured better. Bray Wyatt is a movie character that once you lose interest in that character, it's,
And what is he now? He's kind of damaged goods because you haven't given him substance to the point where he still has it, and he still has the character, but we have no reason to care.
We have no reason to care.
You have no reason to care about anything he says.
So
it's like bittersweet. It's heartbreaking to me as a huge Bray Wyatt fan to see what they do.
And and
that's why they say they bastardize his character.
And I won't go that far. What I will say is that I am disappointed, not so much in Bray, just so much in the company of having the resources to develop something that's unique and that's creative and that is culture appropriate because again, like it can translate through time. And we just ask that you just give it a little bit more thought, a little bit more effort, as your fans do. We understand that monetizing is something you guys do very well, so our opinion doesn't even equate to the 2 cents. But we just, for someone that's invested, for someone that spends his 6 hours a week watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT and going to spend his 5 hours this weekend watching NXT and Money in the Bank, we would just like a little reciprocation, especially with the character that can evolve into something so much more than just the character on screen.
Do you think they look at him as a hardcore wrestling fan bag? Like, as in, like, oh, the money we're going to make from him is for the hardcore fans, and we don't even see him as a pop culture figure, We don't even, maybe they look at him as that, because I think they have those guys.
I don't think Bray Wyatt is a hardcore fans wrestler. I think Bray Wyatt, for one, hardcore fans gravitated to him because he was just different. He wasn't cookie cutter. He wasn't manufactured with NXT. He didn't have the build. He didn't have the scripted, things to say like sucker and succotash. Bray, he had a kind of he had a oneness within himself.
It was a character, but when you see him on screen, it's
you don't see a character.
You don't see it. It feels like it's him. It feels authentic. It feels natural.
It feels like he's method acting. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we do appreciate with Wyndham / Bray / Husky, whatever we want to call him.
Let's just get rid of Husky. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to remember Husky either.
Even Husky, he gave that great famous cowboy boots promo. But so usually we just wanted to show our appreciation to Bray. We really just wanted to let you know that your character is spotlighted with us, and we'll be keeping our eye on you, especially at Money in the Bank. I think he's like 29, 30.
So he's still got time.
Yes, he definitely got time. I think he just needs. I just think he needs a writer. I think he definitely needs a writer that helps kind of give him the direction that he needs to go to, or the direction that needs to be presented to the powers that be, that will then allow that to translate on screen. So for you guys that's listening, I want you to go check out some memorable Bray Wyatt matches that we obviously like. This the Bray versus Daniel Bryan at Royal Rumble.
Probably my favorite Bray Wyatt match.
At Royal Rumble 2014. As we've said.
Check out the Shield versus the Wyatt family. Check out him and Taker.
You gotta give him the pay-per-view, man. You gotta give
at Elimination Chamber.
At Elimination Chamber.
What year was that?
2014.
2014.
It's the same year he fought Cena at WrestleMania 30. So watch that match. Watch that pre-tape. Go check out him and Taker. Watch how he just worked, and I believe Taker called the match, or maybe Bray called the match. Usually what they say is the heel calls the match, unless it's the veteran that has a direction that wants to be gone.
Check out him and Chris Jericho on NXT. It shows that he can work with the veteran from an early stage in his career. Him and Chris Jericho put off a really good match on NXT. Check out him with, what was I going to say? Him in the Elimination Chamber. Him winning the title.
Him in the Elimination Chamber 2016. Make sure you definitely go check that out. When he hit the Sister Abigail on Cena.
Oh my God!
And then he hits the Sister Abigail on AJ Styles.
When he eliminated Cena and just alone, I was like, because I remember going into the match like, I don't know what they're gonna do, but I just really have a feeling that Bray might get it. But when I finally saw it, I still didn't believe it, but I had like a little feeling, but I didn't want to like get my hopes up. So when he took Cena out, when Cena was out, I was like, oh my God, here it goes. Bray's winning this match. And I just completely lost it when Bray won.
It was a mark out moment. I mean, for people that follow his career, definitely had that elation with him. As you can make sure you watch the match and have the sound on so you can hear the crowd pop as Bray wins. Yeah, man, Bray, we definitely appreciate your craft. We definitely appreciate the effort that you put into with this character, And we, as fans, definitely wish to see more and hope to see more of you. Hopefully, I'll be there to get you to a WrestleMania so you can have the whole world in your hands.
He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
And on that note, this is. Oh my god!
Oh my
Oh
god!
god! Okay.
I didn't want to.
Yeah,
I didn't want to get on record laughing, but.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
listening. Get you something together so we can end this shit.
Oh my god!
Okay. 3,
Okay.
2.
We'll see you guys later.
Oh
my
man.
God.
Thank you guys for listening. This is the wrap up. We usually try to keep our character spotlights less than a regular episode, and we're at 50 minutes talking
Already.
about Bray.
We can talk about Bray all day because
We can talk about Bray all day.
Super Bray marks,
but we can't and we won't.
but we won't.
So thank you for listening to the 8th episode, and if you know, you know. And check us out on Twitter, RW Podcast 1. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube at Reasonable Wrestling. And of course, if you're listening to us on SoundCloud, make sure you follow us there.
Yes, thank you very much for listening.
Appreciate you. Peace.